Are school uniforms really necessary? Welcome to Mark and Pete. Here's a thought.
A school uniform can help a child conform with blazers, trousers, and new shoelaces. But as is the norm, and they won't reform when they arrive only wearing long faces. Clergyman Pete, I must admit I never really liked wearing a school uniform at school, but nevertheless I can see the point behind them. The idea that you have loyalty to a particular school, you can identify with the school, and there are many other reasons. What say you about the idea of the new law that is about to be implemented, which is to protect parents in England from unnecessary school uniform costs? What do you agree? Do you agree with that, or do you think it's a silly idea?
This is the idea of not having too many branded items. Now,
Yes.
two forms of branding, though. One is having the school logo on a jumper or a blazer and that sort of thing. While that could easily be replaced with a badge that could be sewed on, there's no need to have it embroidered, is there? So you could see that could easily be replaced if you thought it was necessary to have a crest. But forcing people to buy clothes from a specific supplier, I think that's the point that they're getting to here. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the whole point.
If that's the case, they are often a little bit overpriced, and it does make it difficult getting hold of it.
Yes.
Whereas you could get much cheaper and similar items from online shops and that sort of thing. So I can see that it could conceivably save parents money.
Well, let's look at the both sides of the equation here, because essentially the idea on the positive side is that state schools being forced to remove unnecessary branding items from their uniform requirements will allow parents and, of course, children to shop around and also hand clothes down, which is a common thing that is done, meaning that, if an elder child completes a particular year, they can hand it down to their siblings and so on. But the point here is that on the downside, and this is often where some people are critical of having what I call sort of unbranded uniforms, is that if a child were to perhaps be a truant or something happened to the child outside of school, the idea is identity. You'd know which school they belong to, you could identify the child. That's one reason. There are many other reasons as well, because some people would say that if you have a branded type of uniform and you have to buy it at a particular area, you're not then going into elitism. So if we take an unbranded one, the concept of unbranded, it's possible that you could end up with children buying a more elite or a more premium type of clothing.
Yeah, I agree with that. They could easily, even without wearing non-uniform clothes,
yes,
a uniform that's just better quality, or
correct,
silk instead of cotton or whatever,
yes,
and be elitist in that way. I can see how that would be a problem. I mean, there is the issue against wearing uniforms, particularly branded ones, is if there's a crest on it or something that specifically identifies you with a particular school, and you come into contact with people who are against that school, perhaps other children, you could be a risk of violence because of wearing your school uniform. So I think there is an argument the other way that wearing the school uniform that's so easily identifiable could conceivably cause problems.
Yes. Now we like this because yes, we're on the back of school, folks. So, Clergyman Pete, how much do you think, according to the Children's Society, is the average cost of school uniforms this year per primary pupil?
Okay, I'm going to say £120.
Well, I think that people would snap your hand off if that was the case. No, it's considerably more expensive.
Oh, £320.
Oh, that's not bad. 315. So in which case, how much is it, in your opinion, then now, as a guide, for a secondary pupil?
Well, I guess it's going to be slightly more. So I'm going to say 400.
Well, actually, it's only slightly more. It's £337. Of course, this is an average cost. But the point here is you can see it's expensive, isn't it, to clothe our children?
Yeah. Now, I don't know how much they were including within that, were they including shoes, for example, which are quite
Yes.
but yes, it is a good idea. I can see the idea of being able to be handed down, and this is where the idea, I think it's a good idea of having unnecessary branded items, because you could have a change from one year to another, from one's, linearly. So you go up from year 10 to year 11, and you have to change the colour blazer because it's in a different school or a different level within the same school, depending on the schooling system. And so that's unnecessary, isn't it? And that was the case when I was at school. Shortly before I met you at school, I went through school, one which had a blue blazer, the next one had a maroon blazer, and the next one had a charcoal blazer. And so there was then, you would have had to have 3 different blazers. Now, during that time, the school that had the maroon blazer changed to having charcoal blazers for this same reason that we're just being indicated by this new law. Then it stopped having to buy a new blazer when you join the new school. So I think that's rather than being able to be handed down, is really the issue, that you don't want to have to buy a new blazer when you get bigger. It's the way around. Yeah.
Well,
or other new items, just because you're joining a new school. If it still fits you, why not be able to still wear it?
Yes, and I would like to point out that this issue is not something that's new. Clergyman Pete has sort of indicated that many, many years ago, yes, we did actually go to the same school. But I will tell you that, as Clergyman Pete will vouch, is that I also had some challenges with school uniforms, and indeed footwear was one of the most obvious things, where there were occasions where you would outgrow what you were wearing, and many a time I would turn up with different shoes.
The shoes that you yes, sometimes shoes. Now I don't.
And that was more out of necessity because, as well as obviously forgetfulness, but it was also a necessity because, look, children grow, and of course, if you're in a situation where you just wear what is available, that can also mean that you as a child, I mean, it didn't bother me in the slightest, but most people just thought it was amusing. But so some people, you don't want to get to an elitist situation. I'm going to sort of state my claim here. I still believe that there is a case for branding, as in having the school motto, the school logo on your uniform somewhere. Now, whether that's on your shirt, your blazer, or whatever it is, I still believe that there is more respect and standards upheld by that method. I think going for what I call a generic uniform is not a good idea.
Mm. Yeah, but I mean, if you go down that route, wouldn't it make just if you go down the other route, rather, not the route that you're saying, if they go down the other route, surely it's either, I think what should be the case is either you have branding or you give up on uniform altogether. I think that this is a halfway house. This is unnecessary. Apart from the small changes which are targeted by this bill. Changing, for example, jumper or blazer colour between us in a school. And I think that small change will save parents money, and when money is tight, it's a good move. So I think overall, this law seems to be a good thing.
What I would also end, which is, what about the teachers? I mean, if the teachers can turn up in anything, what happened to the old mortarboard and cap and gown?
Yes, well, now teachers I know increasingly aren't wearing a shirt and tie, aren't dressing smartly.
Right.
Is that a problem? And
I think we should ask our lovely audience.
It's a discussion for another day, but we'd love something to start off that discussion. So please leave your comment below on this, on anything, on any of our other episodes. Just go to markandpete.com. Make sure you sign up, and then once you're subscribed, you can leave comments to your heart's content on this issue and the many other contentious issues that we talk about. So watch out for that. It's home time. That's it for this week. Bye. Catch you next time.